All right, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, not Wednesday like we usually do. I'm Jason,
I'm Jackie.
and we are the Flames.
Flames.
Trying to work on a good intro.
You have to tell me.
Well, guys, hey, we are back for our third episode, and hope you guys have enjoyed the first two. I know we are enjoying it, so hopefully you are too. So share this video and comment as you are watching. We'd love to see who is watching live. And so this episode, we're going to share what it truly looks like to build a marriage with Christ at the center. From daily faith practices to trusting God through life's biggest challenges, we'll talk about how our relationship has been shaped and strengthened by our walk with Him. Whether you're newly married, engaged, or seeking to grow closer together in faith, this conversation is all about keeping God as your foundation. So, all right, we got a couple of viewers already. Who's watching out there, guys? Let us know. And by the way, again, if you have any questions, let us know. So let's kind of start. So we are Catholic. You were born what they call it, a cradle Catholic, right?
I was a cradle Catholic.
Okay, and so I chose to become Catholic. I was not raised with a formal faith education or any of the sacraments. And so when we started dating, I started going to church with you and going to Mass, learned more about it, and didn't get baptized until Maddie was baptized in 2002. But I was in 2003, right?
Yeah, I guess
a year later. So we both have maybe a little bit of a different perspective, but I think in the end, our faith is what's inside of us already. I mean, the Holy Spirit has already lived in us and through us and leads us to our path. So we're going to talk a little bit about this today and a couple questions that we're going to tackle. And again, if you guys have any questions, we'd love to hear from you as well. So tell me, what was it like just growing up Catholic and growing up in your faith?
So I started in Catholic school, and so I was baptized. You're in the Catholic religion, you're normally baptized as an infant. And then in first grade, I received my first communion because I was in Catholic school. Otherwise, that would have been done later. And that was all in New York, and there were nuns and teaching us, and it was really cool. Uniforms. And then we came to California, and later I was baptized, or I received my confirmation as a high schooler. So that one I didn't love as much. I kicked and screamed, I think, a little bit about that. It used to be an 8th grade sacrament. Everyone did it. It was a 2-year program. You started in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, you would receive your sacrament. And the year I was set to receive it, they moved it to 10th grade. So I was a little frustrated at that because I was driving, I was independent, I wanted to go do my own thing, but it's just kind of all I knew. Like Saturday nights, we would go to Mass, and my dad was usually working, and it would be my mom and myself and my brothers, and then we'd come home and she would make steak. And that's just what we did.
She makes steak.
She made steak in the broiler with breadcrumbs. That's how it was done back then. So that is kind of what we did, and just all I ever knew, and I never questioned that that's what we did. I just went. I was pretty much brought up at St. Jude's in Westlake Village, where we were eventually married. The most beautiful church. It's pouring with donors and celebrities, and decor always to the nines. And so anyway, that's where I grew up.
So mine was different because I could probably count the number of times that I went to church as a child on one hand. We didn't go to church on Easter or Christmas or any of that. I remember going to Sunday school with my cousin a few times, went to, I think it was Bethany preschool or Bethany school in Thousand Oaks, only a couple times. But really, other than that, I don't think there was a whole lot. Now, on the other hand, there was still talk of believing in God and having a faith and all of that, but nothing really formal. It wasn't formal for me at all. until, like I said, when Maddie was born and she was baptized, I told myself that if I'm going to be a good parent, I need to set the example. And I had always wanted to be baptized. And my mom left it up to all of us to decide which path we were going to take and to do it on our own. And so that was when I decided that I did want to be baptized. I went to it's RCIA then, now I guess it's OCIA instead. But anyway, it was a faith formation class for adults who had not received any of the sacraments. And that was quite honestly very eye-opening for me because it was just as much educational as it was fulfilling to understand my faith better. Um, it was, every week for almost, a year, and then on at the Easter Vigil, I think is when it all happened, right? So,
Yeah, we joke that you probably have a better understanding of the Catholic religion than I do as a cradle Catholic because you read the whole Bible cover to cover. You really truly embraced it, whereas it was just kind of part of my academics.
mhm. Yeah, I definitely, I was very curious all throughout my life. As a matter of fact, it sounds a little silly, but my friends growing up that were Catholic, I thought it was like the coolest thing, when they would make the sign of the cross.
It is.
I thought that was, I don't know why I thought it was cool, but like I'd watch Italian movies and like my parents are all Catholic. I always somehow deep inside of me felt that I was Catholic. I was going to be Catholic, and I don't know. Again, call it the Holy Spirit, living through me and bringing me there. But that's just how it was for me growing up, and so received all of my sacraments kind of like literally all at once.
Right.
Backing up a little bit on our last episode, we talked about our wedding and getting married, and in order for us to be married in the Catholic Church, even though I wasn't Catholic at the time. We had to go through a retreat, a marriage retreat and couples retreat, and not like the movie that you've seen on TV, but a marriage retreat where we really dove into some deep conversations and talked about how our faith shapes our decisions and how important the vows that we make are, that those vows are for life, and that was very very serious. It really yeah, there were a lot of uh very emotional moments too. I can just remember like holding hands and having conversations and like feeling that,
It was
like,
heavy.
yeah, it was
It's
pretty
emotional.
amazing. And I think that was probably one of the best things that we ever did for the foundation of our marriage was really diving into our faith, because it wasn't just about getting married and planning the wedding. It was like, what do you believe? How are you going to raise your children? How will you deal with, your struggles and your arguments or your finances or stuff like that? How will you dig into your faith for that? So, yeah, I mean, that was just an amazing experience. Um, and now we'll get into some of these questions and talk about what our life is like now and how we incorporate, or how our faith lives through our life. And so what does it mean to have a Christ-centered marriage, um, to each of us personally, and how do we come to that understanding?
Whew. So a Christ-centered marriage to me is, gosh, that's a really hard question. Well, it's a deep question. It's an easy answer, but um, means you should probably start with that. That's a really hard one for me
Well,
to like
the only thing,
verbalize.
I mean, the biggest thing to me is that when we make a promise, um, in our wedding, a promise to each other. We're making that promise in front of our friends, our family, to each other publicly, but we're making that vow and promise to God. And I think that from the very beginning that God is involved in that decision and in that union, that we will honor God by treating each other with respect and dignity and taking care of each other in the hardest times, raising our children, promising to raise our children with good morals, values, and that same belief that we have in God.
That then is the answer.
There you go. There you go.
But I mean, it was such a leap of faith for you because you were not yet Catholic, and we together agreed to raise our kids Catholic, and that was a, for me that was always a stick. I That was a no giving back. That we were going to do that no matter what. So, um, and we did. We baptized them both as soon as we could. Right on time. They did their first Holy Communion. I even taught some of those classes, and confirmation in high school as well. And they will be marrying Catholic because I'm going to pick their spouses. So that's how that goes.
Of course you are. Yeah, it was a little bit of a leap of faith for me in some ways, when it came time to talking about getting married, because these conversations were had before. It wasn't like we got married and then decided how we were going to raise our kids. We already
Yeah.
had these conversations, and there were two options. We raised them with next to nothing as far as formal faith and which church we were going to belong to and go to, and how we were going to teach them. um, but for me, it was so important. It was again, why I wanted to be baptized and go through, receive all the sacraments, to be an example to Maddie, because I didn't want to be a house divided. And nothing against anybody from any other religion or belief system. If you're married and you have two different belief systems, I'm sure that
Which is
you make it work,
very common, right? We
right?
see that a lot.
But for me, it wasn't going to be. It couldn't be that way for me. We had to be a united front, united beliefs, and raise our kids that way. So I thought that was really important. But it was, in the beginning, kind of like, okay, I have to decide. And I wasn't gonna. Um, there was no fight about it. It wasn't like, no, we're going to do this instead. It was, okay, well, if we're going to do this, then I need to follow through as well.
I didn't realize that you hadn't gone on Christmas or Easter. Like it seems like even the people who, Christmas and Easter mass is always packed and we're like, hey, give me my pew. That's where I sit every week. You're never here. But I love that. I love the tradition of that. And it must have been overwhelming for you because especially at Christmas and Easter, everybody's got their gloves on, their pretty dresses, and everyone's dressed up. And it's just like my favorite part of
I
Easter.
was always attracted to
Okay.
that. Everything about the Catholic Church, the traditions, rituals, what have you, everything was attractive to me, meaning like I felt drawn to it.
Right.
It felt very, maybe when we were in high school, I might have been, like, whoa. But for me, it was more eye-opening because, well, I wasn't in high school. I was 19 when the first time you ever took me to mass. And we actually went to mass a lot as we were dating. It was something we would do quite often on Saturday night. We would go to mass, and then we either go to dinner with your parents or go, they would take us to a show or something. And that was
Mhm.
kind of cool. It's kind of a fun, tradition, if you will. But um, maybe it was a little bit overwhelming then, but not so much. I mean, as I went on, I always draw parallels to other areas of my life, and like martial arts is so, like, everything is, this is how we bow in class, this is how you do this, and this is how you do that, and that's very much how, when you go to a Catholic mass, it's stand up, sit down, you do
Very
the thing.
tradition oriented.
And I love that. So I've always enjoyed that. What practical habits or daily practices help you keep God at the center of your relationship?
I'd say prayer.
Hmm.
I every time I go to bed, I pray and um, try to live a godlike life. I mean, try to be a good person and be a decent human being. And the goal is to get to heaven and after all of this. So
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think prayer for sure. Prayer for me was, I had to learn that it's okay to pray any way you pray.
mhm.
Right? I Because again, the Catholic faith has a lot of memorized prayers, and I was not very good at memorizing all the prayers. Like, I can sit in church and mass, and I can follow along. Most of them I have memorized now. But I always thought that when you had dinner, there was always a prayer, and there's common ones used, right? But like, it's okay to just pray the way you pray, and the way, you talk to God may be different than the way someone else does. And I think it's just that open communication of both talking to God and taking time to listen to God. For me, I also read every morning. I love my daily reader.
Ugh.
I know it's not your favorite thing to read. I did read through the Bible actually two times from cover to cover. That does not mean that I understand everything about it. It just means that I've read it, and I read it often because the daily reader gives me a passage and different readings that I get to enjoy every day. It's really short too. That's what I love about the daily reader is
Yeah.
it's like maybe a paragraph or two.
Digest.
And by the way, if you follow me on social media, I post it in my story every single day as Jackie posts prayers that are sent to her or passages that are sent to her. So you can follow our stories and check that out. But I think those uh, Sunday when we sit down with the kids to have dinner, and this is probably more recent. We pray a lot more together.
Yeah.
And I think that those practices, but also like you said, just uh, you know it's hard to say it, but like, you want to try to emulate the acts of Jesus and how um, he loved everyone, and that's hard for us to do, especially when we have ego and we have prejudice and we have all kinds of things in our mind when we meet and see people. But you try to treat other people the way you would like to be treated. I like to think that yes, I want to be. I want to be a good person. I want to have good intentions. I want to have a good heart, and I want people to feel that and see that. So, and I think that's because of, wanting to live up to his expectations.
Agreed. And
Mhm.
if Monsignor's watching this, you're going to get such brownie points right now.
Monsignor's not watching this. He would, but I would if Monsignor, if you're watching, I would like to have you on my podcast and interview
Oh my gosh.
you. Danny said it wouldn't happen, but that's okay. All right. Have there been moments where bleh, drink
Wow.
drink more coffee here today? Have there been moments where faith guided you through a challenge in your marriage? Um,
Maybe not a challenge in our marriage, but
yeah.
in our, obviously, in our lives, we've had a challenge in the past year. And um, I I will, it's going to make me cry, but I just don't think any of us would have overcome this last year without having faith in our lives. I know it in my heart. The amount of prayer that was, first of all, the amount of prayer that other people prayed for us
Hmm.
um was tremendous, and I felt it. Like I felt the prayer, and I felt Jesus, and in the quiet times in the hospital, and
Hmm.
just during there were moments where I can't even describe it. You can feel that light. We had, you know, to hear that Madison would get calls from Aunt Jen and she would pray with her every night. Like, I can't even describe the gift that is. I mean, if someone had given her $10,000, it would be nothing compared to that. Like, it was just a huge, huge gift. Um, the prayer blankets from literally all over the world, Italy, tons from New York, from or local. I mean, we have so many of those prayer blankets,
Hmm.
and it- there's just so many good people out there, and prayer chains and people I'm praying for you, and I know that they were, and um, but without feeling it and knowing it as a family, hearing that the kids would go to mass by themselves, you would go to mass before you came see me on a Sunday sometimes, and um, I don't know. I mean, it's what got me through. I absolutely felt that in the quiet times.
Well, I think it comes down to the question was, have there been moments where faith guided you through a challenge in your marriage? And as most of you know, if you're friends with us on social media and you're watching this, you probably have watched all of last year and the battle that Jackie went through and our whole family faced together. Without faith in God, that whatever reason he has for us going through this, in the end, we've come out as a stronger family, as a stronger couple. We've felt the love from all of our friends and people around us. Um, maybe that's what God wanted us to know, is that we had that. And I can remember for sure, whether I was laying in bed at home when I would come to rest in between, or if I was laying on the bed in the hospital room,
The
um,
couch.
couch. It was a bed. It was
Kinda.
comfortable,
Yeah.
kind of, after a while. Um, I would just I would often try to listen more, but I would just keep asking, like, wrap your arms around Jackie and hold her and make her feel loved and make her know that, because we were all scared, right? I mean, there's no doubt that we were scared, but at the same time, to know that we have a God that loves us and looks out for us and puts everything in our life for a reason. um that's what faith is. Faith is believing without knowing, right? I mean, we had no idea what's going on there, and you want to ask why. Why is this happening to me? And why is this happening for me? But faith says you just have to believe, no matter what,
Yep.
like, and holding on to that. And that was a huge, that was huge for all of us. Definitely, you know, Maddie in the last year has really kind of come back, because as young 20-year-olds, you kind of drift away a little bit. Church is not as important. You're not going to mass as much, but I think that it really kind of brought out that, um,
And Mason.
and Mason too. And Mason's, going back to mass, kind of, which is really cool. He's going back on his own. He doesn't go with us. He just goes on his own, with his friends. But
I love that.
yeah, but just that. So that was definitely a time. And there's been plenty of times where, um, if we're having financial worries, or too much going on in our life, like, sometimes you just gotta literally just let go and give it to God, and know that we're not in control of it. I mean, at the end of the day, we are not in control of anything. So all of our stress and all of our worries is really just a waste of our time and
Yep.
energy. So you got to just sometimes let go. So that's kind of what we did.
I don't know if you remember when I first, not too far into being, I think, admitted into the hospital.
Mhm.
I remember telling you, this is so funny because I had a dream, or like almost like a premonition, that you would be in church and you'd be by yourself. We always go together. And I had this, like, I don't know, like this dream that you were a little sad and people were asking, How is she? How is she?" And I wasn't there. And you're like, "She'll be okay."
Mhm.
Do you remember me telling you that? And you were like, "Yeah, I know." And so I don't know. I think that that was a message. I just really believe that.
And I mean, so last year, right? I'm 50 years old. We've been together since I was 19. I have almost never, I can't remember ever going to mass alone. I've always gone to
Yeah.
mass with you or the family. And it was just, like, I was, when I got there, and I would sit and just listen and just soak everything in. It was so, I would leave feeling like energized. I would leave feeling like,
Me
I
too.
know it's just it. I would feel more, full of faith and confidence, and like things are going to be okay. Like, things are good. God's definitely got us. We're going to be okay. And there, I mean, there were people that would see me and they're like, "Where's Jackie?" And she's, yeah, and here we are back in church, and everybody sees us. And there's the few couples that, like, see us every time, and couple, and kind of wink or smile or wave. And
Yeah.
we don't really know them all really well, which we should probably know people at our church better. But they recognize that we weren't there, and that's pretty cool too. um how do you balance your individual spiritual journeys while growing together as a couple?
Hmm. Where do you find these questions? Like, these are tough.
I know. I know. I come up with good ones, don't I?
Oh, you do.
Me and my friend Chat.
Chat. I call him Chat.
Who's watching, by the way? There's 7 people watching live, and I haven't heard from you guys. Comment, let us know if you are watching. And if there are any questions that you have for us, anything, by the way, it doesn't have to be on this topic. You can just anything. Uh, drop some comments. I'm sure Maddie's watching. She's working, I think, but she's probably still watching.
No, she wouldn't watch while she's working.
Yeah. Shania is watching. Hi, Shania.
Hi.
How are you?
Owner of Ambiance. I'm looking at things on my table from you right now.
Thanks for watching, Shania. Let us know if you have any questions, or if you're just watching, that's totally cool. So the individual journeys while growing together as a couple. Well, I mean, what?
Easy. So individual journeys, I mean, I feel like we're just in that instance, we're definitely one united front. And I mean, I don't we don't pray together often, right? At dinner time, but I pray by myself. Um and at dinner, by the way, we pray whoever dares to touch their plate first or taste the chicken or whatever first, they say the prayer for the night. So yeah, I don't know. I think we're more of a united front in that we go to mass together. That's kind of our thing.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say that I mean, but that's for everything. Like literally everything. Like we
Do you
do
like
everything
laundry?
together.
Do we do laundry together? I feel like we
I'm
don't
here
do
in the
laundry
house when you
together.
do it
Oh, are you?
sometimes.
Okay. Because I don't feel like we do that together. Is
Come
that?
on. But like the Chamber of Commerce, we do all the events together. All the stuff, all the events that we participate in or
Yeah.
sponsor or volunteer, we do, we serve at the Lord's table together. That's not something we do individually. Um, Going to the gym sometimes. But that
I
has
deserve that.
nothing to do with our faith. I think probably the one thing that separates us is I probably read a little bit more, and so a lot of times I'll read something and then I'll be like, hey, read this. Or sometimes I see your stories and I go, wow, did you really read that today? Because like that's like on point for
Yeah.
today. Sometimes those readings are just really on point.
I
But
do read all my stories, by the way.
you post them, so I don't know. Sometimes you just put them up.
Not at all.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that there's definitely some we have our own personal
Yeah.
things, but I think we bring it together, and we talk so much. Like we text and talk all day long throughout the day. Like I don't know that there's a whole lot that I'm thinking that you don't know, or the other way around. So I think that's where we really grow together as a couple. What advice would you give to other couples who want to strengthen their marriage through faith?
Well, we have always been a big advocate of the marriage, the pre-Cana classes, the marriage classes before you get married, taking some time to learn your faith together, and expectations of each other and expectations that you'll have in your marriage. That's always advice that I give as a new couple is to kind of explore that together because life happens later and you get caught up in it and you get caught up in planning the wedding. Everything's about the wedding day. We said it before. We don't plan enough for the marriage and the life together. We plan for the wedding.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think those the classes that we went to, we even did some pre-marriage counseling before we got married, and like people are weird about that. Like it's a weakness to ask for help. But like, listen, if our marriage is struggling, if we're having problems or we want to prevent
Mhm.
problems, I have no problem asking for help when
Right.
it comes to that. Like, because you're the most important person in my life, and I would never just give up on it. So if there was a problem or we wanted to strengthen our marriage, like why not with a professional? But other things to strengthen your marriage through your faith is talk about it. Talk about your faith. I don't think that we did all of these things, but we didn't really sit and talk about like what we believe and why we believe it early on. I
Right.
think we talk about it a little bit more, or we'll talk about instances, well, like, wow, could you imagine what it would be like to go through everything we went through last year without having a belief
No.
that God was watching over us and was looking out for us. Like, I don't know, that's such a huge, almost security blanket to know that you have that. So, just talking about your faith, don't be afraid to go to classes or counseling, and just
Drop
Well,
your ego, like, right? Like,
yeah,
be good enough to let go of your ego and see each other and see yourself for who you really are. And you're a gift to your spouse. I'm a gift to you. You are a gift to your spouse,
100%.
and that's your life, right? That's you do this once, hopefully, right? Like you live once,
Not hopefully, one
the
time,
marriage,
one,
but
right?
the life.
Yeah, but
You do, that's the goal, right? And take it seriously.
yeah. Sometimes I find myself, we watch a lot of shows and TV. Yeah, I mean, I post them so you guys all see them. I watch all kinds of movies and series, but you and I can sit together for hours and not really say much to each other, but yet I feel like I'm still, I don't want to say communicating with you, but like I still feel like we're close,
Mhm.
right? Like we're sitting next to each other and spending time together, and um yeah, I just think that's not unusual, but it's special. Like a lot of couples couldn't sit in the same room together for a long period of time, um, and just enjoy each other's company. We don't feel like we have to fill the air, fill the space with a lot, but we definitely have our good conversations. We love our road trips. So on road trips,
Love road trip. I love a road trip with
long
you.
conversations and music and just I don't know. So I think all of those things will strengthen your marriage, but particularly when it comes to your faith, is those uh, pre-marriage or even during. We've said it a million times that we think going back, we should go back and do a class like that again.
The OCIA program is starting at Holy Cross Church. We could join that on Tuesday nights.
It's possible.
It's possible.
It's possible. Maybe not the whole thing, but yeah, it's possible.
No, not 2 years worth. But
Not 2 years worth. All right, guys. Well, let's see. Tracy says, connected. You two are connected in a comfortable silence.
connected in a comfortable
Yeah.
silence. I love that.
Yeah, totally. I, there's like nobody else in the world that I can really do that with. And so that's pretty special for us. All right. Well, if you guys have any other questions, anything else, let us know. Drop them in the comments. Wow, we went way longer today than we've ever gone. So this is only our third episode, and they're just going to keep on coming. So subscribe at Master Motivation Podcast on YouTube right now. All of these episodes are airing there. Follow us on social media and let us know if you're liking the content. And again, we'll see you next time. All
Next
right.
Wednesday we'll be back. 27th.
Next Wednesday, we'll be back. All right, guys, go out and have a blessed day. We'll see you soon.